wreck a pum pum, bald head pum pum, black pum pum, wash the pum pum, every man pum pum. No, I haven't lost my mind. These are all titles of songs recorded by the vagina lyricist of ska music, Prince Buster. So we've been in this almost 50-year-old looping debate about how sexually explicit and lewd dancehall music is. It all started in the 80s when DJs like Yellowman and Admiral Bailey were painted as the bad guys by self-titled music gatekeepers, claiming they were harming the holiness of Jamaican music with raunchy lyrics. Finger pointing continued into the 90s with artists like Shabba Ranks, Cobra and Buju Banton being on the receiving end of such pokes. And it continues today with names like Vybz Kartel, Spice, Skeng and Skillibeng being demonized for their lyrical expressions. But what if I told you slack music existed in Jamaican popular music long before dancehall? Let's take a trip down memory lane with some raunchy records across mento, ska, and rocksteady that your grandparents were probably getting down and dirty on before they grew older and, I guess, holier. Welcome to Beat Street Media. Tell a friend to tell 2.5 friends, the neighbor, and a stray cat to subscribe for more videos about contextualized pop culture. Night Food by Aller Bedassi. Today we call it getting head, but back in the 50s, going down on your partner was called getting night food. Bedassi chronicles his naivety as an innocent young man who is merely seeking shelter from the rain when a woman comes out and offers him some warmth and food inside. Shivering and famished, he hurries inside, but the woman doesn't exactly enter the kitchen.
The room went dark, she said, come and eat. This night food is very warm and sweet. I said, lady, there's no knife and fork. And how can I eat food in the dark? She said, this food needs no knife and fork. How can any human be so dark? The food is right here in the bed. Come here, man, make me scratch your head.
Released in 1955, the song was storytelling at its finest, thanks to writer Everard Williams, and as good stories do, it sparked quite the discussion. Then Minister of Trade Willis Isaacs lobbied for the banning of the song as he argued that it was too suggestive, but Bedassi defended the song's lyrics until his death in 2007, arguing that it was not harmful to a single soul. Do you think Minister Isaacs was overreacting and probably wanted some night food for himself? Tell me in the comments. Wet Dream by Max Romeo. Before he became a Rastafarian roots singer, Max Romeo was shaking up the colonial righteousness of the 1960s with raunchy lyrics, including those of Wet Dream. The song, which wasn't as ambiguous as Bedassi's Night Food, was banned from the BBC after only being played twice. But before it got to England, the record almost didn't get pressed and released as producer Coxsone Dodd found the lyrics ludicrous. Luckily for Max Romeo, producer Bunny Lee believed in the song and convinced Coxsone to let him record it.
Every night me go to sleep, me have wet dream. Every night me go to sleep, me have wet dream. Lie down, girl, make me push it up, lie down. Lie down, girl, make me push it up, lie down.
The record peaked at number 2 on the British charts, with the Beatles securing the top spot with Get Back. It stayed on the charts for 26 weeks, and Romeo was even requested to perform it at Robert Albert Hall in 1969 before the royal family. Wet Dream has also formed part of soundtracks for films like the 2002 flick Anita and Me. I interviewed Romeo earlier this year about the song in light of the looping slack music discussions, and he said Wet Dream was never about promoting sexual messages. He said, in 1969 I started this whole revolution, backed and defended by the skinheads in England at the time, who was looking for something to grasp onto because they were getting bored with the children must be seen and not heard, and all of these things that colonialist masters bring down to our parents who force it onto us. So here I come with a song. Every time I go to sleep, I have wet dream. What's wrong about wet dreams? 3/4 of the world end up with wet dreams. If you don't have a wet dream sometime in your life, you're not healthy. He continued. It wasn't even that explicit sexual brainwash that drives people to rape and murder. That wasn't the thought when I did the song. Romeo went on to release a whole album of suggestive music, which he packaged as banned and censored, and he told me that he revisits the album from time to time. Fatty Fatty by the Heptones. I hereby present to you another song that was banned, this time from Jamaican radio. The Heptones had been around for some time, but Fatty Fatty was arguably the record that gave them the breakouts and attention they needed because of the controversy it caused. Released in 1967, the track keeps it imaginative with the wordplay and stood out as a sexual ode to the full-figured belle. The rocksteady group inspired a slew of releases dedicated to BBWs because of the song, like Clancy Eccles' track of the same name.
I say no, when you feel it, girl, you're gonna say this. Girl, I know you want it. I say you want it tonight. And you're gonna get a lot of it. Get it tonight. Oh, get it galore, girl. Get it galore. You won't want no more, no more. Want no more.
Big Five by Prince Buster. Enter the original Dexter Daps. Prince Buster has a whole catalog of songs about the female genitalia. Big Five is just one of many, but it stands out with Buster's use of Brooke Benton's flow from Rainy Night in Georgia and the line,
"It will be pussy versus cocky tonight."
Prince Buster was definitely busting something, alright.
How many times I've wanted to lay my dick inside her, and to think that now she has to beg me to do it for her. I'm gonna juke her with vengeance tonight.
Yum Yum by Lloydie and the Lowbites. Before Whitney Houston declared that she was saving her love for a special someone, Lloyd Charmers declared something else.
I'm saving my tongue for my sweet baby.
Many of us are familiar with the Bible verse, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." But how many of us think of sexual acts when we hear that verse? Lloyd Charmers of Lloydie and the Lowbites clearly did, because he calls on the Lord for help on this ear-perking song.
I place her pussy way up on the table. Eating pussy, Lord, I know I'm able. I start kissing her neck, right on down to her navel. But when I reach the pussy, she just scream, and I go, yummy, yummy pussy, yummy, yum, yum.
Cringe-worthy or not, at least we can all agree that the group moniker was fitting. Though Lloyd performed as a solo act under the name Lloyd Terrell, he often reserved his most sexually lucid thoughts for his recordings with the group. Can you think of other slack songs from yesteryear? Now that you've heard these songs, what are your thoughts on the dancehall is slack music debate? Share them below. Until next time, like and subscribe if you dig the vibe, and please share this video with your tribe.